Hi everyone, my name is Jason Beres. I'm the Senior VP of Developer Tools at Infragistics, and today we're going to talk about the future of everything to wrap up your ISTA event for 2020, a unique event, and I want to thank the organizers for inviting me to give this keynote. It's a little strange. I'm used to being in an audience, and I'm sure you've dealt with that all day through the presentation, so I apologize if my eyes are looking in one way or there's a reflection. It is a little strange, but what I want to do is start out with a message about the internet in general and how huge it is and how it's growing. So if we look at some of these numbers across the board, 700 million edge-hosted containers by 2021, 14.6 billion IoT devices, which will account for 51% of all network devices by 2022. So that's IoT, Internet of Things. It's grown exponentially in the last 3 to 5 years. 42% compounded annual growth of internet traffic. So when we look at who's surfing the web, how much data is being passed around the web, it is phenomenal, the growth. 12 times AR, VR traffic by 2022. So we have a 12-fold increase in the next 12 months on AR, VR, which is astounding. Internet business traffic will be 82% video by 2022, and 43% of network devices by 2022 are wireless. So my point is that throughout this talk today, I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, a lot of futuristic things, and what I want you to leave with is that no matter where you're at in your digital transformation, in your career, in what you're trying to achieve this year, next year, the opportunity is truly everywhere. And it's growing for you. So let's take a look. This is some numbers from Cisco. And these are gaps in what is needed and what's available. So when we think about cloud expertise, there's a 51% gap in skill sets needed for cloud. Look at DevOps, 42% skills gap. Big data, 43%. App dev, 37%. So you'll get these slides later. You can look at this a little bit closer, but my point is, again, there's huge opportunity. The internet's growing. The way that we work with the internet is growing, and all of the jobs related to the internet are growing. And especially in this last 6 to 8 months with COVID, everyone being remote, working from home, we've seen growth in opportunity for companies that were ready for it and for developers to really take advantage of that and jump into some of these really interesting aspects. So let's get started. I've outlined 7 future things you should think about after ISTA is over. So tomorrow, when you get back to work, what are some of the things in the back of your head if you're not already doing some of this stuff? So the big thing I want to highlight here is that market disruption pace is unprecedented. This was pre-COVID, so it didn't happen because of COVID, but COVID helped it. So when we look at some of these numbers, and where does disruption come from? It comes from creativity. It comes from new opportunities because of technology, but a lot of it comes from spend. So where are people spending money? So here we see that 76% of CIOs say they're investing in new digital products and services in 2021. That is a lot of investment. 83% increase in demand for new digital products and services. So we're spending more, there's more demand. And then when we look at 2022, 85% of customer service interactions will start with self-service, which is almost double what it is today. So what does that mean? It means that applications and infrastructure need to be in place with this new demand in digital product and digital service to address the need for people wanting to do things on their own to get started. And then maybe there's a handoff to a human being and we kind of move on from there. But the idea is that self-service is where we're going. And you probably have already read the bullets on the left, but the one thing I wanted to highlight is this last bullet, is that artificial intelligence is getting better, bigger, and smarter. And the scary thing is that it's starting to learn based on what it's already learned. And then even more interesting, maybe not scary, but interesting, is that the machine is actually your new customer. So when something is hitting your website or hitting your mobile app or hitting your voice service, it's likely, very likely, to be just another machine doing something on behalf of, as a proxy for someone else. So this type of disruption will continue to happen. The pace will continue to be very strong, and the spend is absolutely astronomical when we look at next year. Now, a lot of the stuff that you talked about today was around app development, automation, testing around applications. So I didn't want to make this talk just around web development, but web development is where a lot of this is happening. So I have a couple things here that I'm trying to get across. I think in general, we've got this frenzy to reinvent everything for the web. It has really slowed down. So there's innovation happening, but innovation is happening at an operating system level, at a browser level, in a hardware level. So for example, your iPhone now is an IoT edge device that can do machine learning and artificial intelligence. You're not fighting over which framework to actually use anymore. It's kind of settled down. It doesn't mean there's still not a ton of opportunity and things happening in JavaScript frameworks and how we build applications. My point is that it's kind of settled down. We're not seeing like some new major framework coming up every week that we want to rush to. We've sort of realized that we've got React, we've got Angular, we've got Vue, we've got some new things from Microsoft around Blazor, which there was a talk about today, which kind of gives us this sort of ability to say, okay, now we don't have to worry about that so much. Let's focus on what the business outcome is that we're trying to deliver to our customers. So you can see that I've got 5 things over here on the right-hand side. SPAs are here to stay. I tried as many acronyms as I possibly could. WebAssembly is happening right now. So yes, Blazor is there with Microsoft. We would expect that growth to happen over the next 24 months. Not exceeding where we're at today with something like Angular or something like React, but there's a massive .NET developer space that would move to WebAssembly from Microsoft, but then WebAssembly in general is happening now, and it will be the future. We saw already a 12x increase in AR/VR traffic over the next 12 months. That's going to continue to spread in web applications, websites, mobile apps, etc. Chatbots are huge, but AI-powered chatbots are becoming even bigger. So how can my chatbot respond effectively to the needs of the person talking to it based on what they're saying without me necessarily programming in a path? So a lot of the chatbots today, it's like person says A, you do B. Person says B, you do C, etc., and you follow a path. But with artificial intelligence, we can make chatbots much smarter. And then multi-channel cross-platform experience. So everything from your watch to your mobile phone to voice activation to your Alexa device to the website to the desktop app become very important in what you start offering your customers in the future. Now, on that same trend, maybe a little more controversial to many of the folks watching today, is that your managers, your business leaders, actually want to see you coding less. And why is that? Is it because every piece of code's already been written 100 times and it's probably somewhere in GitHub? That might be part of it, but really what we're looking at right now is this frenzied pace of disruption is accelerating, and it's going fast, fast, fast. If you're stuck writing code all day long just to do a new something on a web page where you could use a reusable library, you could use a low-code or no-code tool to accelerate that delivery, that's what business leaders are looking for in the next 5 years. There's still going to be 5 to 10 million software developers in the world, but you're at the application developer level, your job may shift. I have another bullet here called Design Ops becomes equal with DevOps. Design Ops is this whole design to code story. So I have a design system, I'm doing design system management, I have a design team, but really we're all part of a single team that's driving application delivery. So you're going to hear a lot more about low code in the future. You're going to start hearing a lot more about no code in the future. And I know many of you are shaking your head like, no way, impossible, we need coders. I agree. I'm not saying coders go away. I'm saying your traditional job may shift a little bit. And then this third bullet's a little interesting, and I don't want to upset any of the design agencies watching, but a lot of what we've learned in the last 5 years is that the knowledge of applications are within the walls of your company. And so for what we used to outsource, we may now insource. It's a more desirable approach. We're going to get better outcomes, and the results for our customers will actually drive up customer satisfaction. Now, this guy here, cloud first is the future. You might be thinking, yep, we get it. But unless you are working at a company that has really shifted to the cloud, you probably don't realize how big the shift to the cloud really is. Pretty much right now, everyone's moving to the cloud. The cloud has created this entire new opportunity for businesses to try new business models, but also to lower costs and deliver like different opportunities for their workers to do work remote, etc. So I have a couple statistics here, and it's pretty startling. 2025, 95% of digital workloads will be cloud native. So if you're not cloud yet, in 5 years, you're going to be, and you're still not in 5 years, you're part of that very tiny 5% that hasn't quite made it there. And then we look at 2021, this is incredible, 3.5 billion cloud-based container instances running, with 20% of them being on edge and IoT devices. So container instances of something, some application, some workload happening on a tiny IoT device somewhere on the edge, be it a phone, be it a Raspberry Pi device, be it whatever. But it's incredible how the world has shifted to the cloud. If you're not there yet, start going down that path, start learning about it, because it's coming and we can't stop it. And then part of this movement to cloud is the Composable Enterprise. And the Composable Enterprise is a concept that many of you say, hey, we've been doing this composition stuff for a long time, but it goes a level deeper, where everything from the smart home to the smart device to what you offer in your enterprise sort of blends together into this Work 2.0 environment. And you're connecting pieces, you're connecting libraries, you're connecting things to make something else more valuable. And a lot of it is valuable in reference to convenience. So how convenient can my life be if I connect, or if I compose my CRM with my other data infrastructure with my smart home? There's all these things that are tied together. So you're going to start reading a lot and seeing a lot about the Composable Enterprise over the next 6 months to 18 months. And then you have to think about how I can take this into APIs and offer unique value that maybe I haven't been able to offer before. So I do obviously have something here about privacy. One note about privacy: you have no privacy, so don't worry about it. Privacy went out the window when you got your first smartphone. So even though I know we have GDPR, I can force you to forget all my personal information. Everyone knows, there's companies that they just do everything to find everything out about you and then sell that data to someone else. So if you believe you want privacy, you won't get that convenience. So there is a trade-off, but I think privacy kind of went out the window a long time ago. And then with privacy, you might say, well, what about trust and ethics? This is huge, a huge problem moving forward, digital trust. So like, would you really trust the guy, a product manager at Google who's creating some application that you use on the web with your data? Like, you don't know him. You don't know that Google has made sure he is an ethical person. You don't know that code is ethical. But we're putting so much trust into the big tech companies. They're called digital dragons, right? You've got Microsoft, Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter. It's unbelievable. And how much of ethics go into play about what you think every day when you're writing code? Probably not a lot, but if you are writing artificial intelligence applications, machine learning applications, it becomes business critical that you do have some sort of audit, some sort of ethics. You're not building in bias into your models. You're not telling your model to look at things a certain way to kind of skew the results. It happens. And one of the things that's really interesting that many of you, I'm sure, have never thought of is that while hacking for data, like I'm going to go hack a website to steal the customer data and then sell it. That's one big thing that's been happening over and over again, every single day, a million times a day for the last 10 years. Now, what are the evil guys doing? They're hacking in to your infrastructure. They are corrupting your machine learning models to alter the outcomes to get even bigger gains. So when we think about how this corruption or bias or ethics are swung another way in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, it's unethical hackers messing and corrupting models that are changing outputs that could change anything from how you get approved for a credit card or an automobile or a home, or even elections. So think about digital elections in the future. So this is scary. This is something that if you're still doing web apps today, you're probably not worried about. But as you start to get into machine learning, it becomes really important. So important. And I was shocked when, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, there's these quotes from Satya Nadella, from Tim Cook, from Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. They're all like, please, world governments, regulate our artificial intelligence. Regulate us because we don't want to be responsible. So Satya Nadella says, we've seen how AI can be applied for good, but we must also guard against its unintended consequences. And I thought this article was great because they say, Satya Nadella warns we need to regulate AI research so it isn't abused to avoid dooming society. So think about artificial intelligence gone wrong and how that can truly doom society. I mean, you look at today, when there is, for example, if anyone's watching the news, U.S. elections this week, just like waiting 2 or 3 days for the results, people are going berserk. They want to arrest the guy in office because he hasn't, conceded yet. And that's just 2 days. Imagine if there's artificial intelligence gone wrong, screwing up how people are doing transactions at stores, or how lights are working for traffic, or how air control systems are working. There's so many things that could go wrong with unethical AI or AI used in the wrong way. So this is why big tech says, please regulate us because we don't want to be responsible. So this is a big thing that you need to think about in the future. And then finally, this is the last of, I think it was 7 of my things to think about for the future. Wearables move to human augmentation. So many of you right now are wearing your Fitbits, your Apple Watches, your Garmin watches, you're tracking your steps. If you may have something tracking your blood sugar, your blood pressure, heart, all this stuff. Even the new Apple Watch tells you your blood oxygen level. Well, guess what? Human 2.0 is actually here. So we're moving beyond my image here of the digital arm, right? We have augmented legs, augmented arms. We've had the Google Glass. I actually have an Amazon Alexa glasses, where I can talk to Siri through my glasses. What we're moving to next is true human augmentation. So I am connected through something to visualize an image on a screen, or we can do something to someone that takes their color blindness and they can see color. We can have someone alter their brainwave patterns to make something do something. And all this is to improve what humans can actually do. So natural, artificial, technological alteration of the human body is happening to improve humanity. And when we think about real science fiction, think about the Borg, think about Data, think about how they said, hey, we're going to make humans more like the machine to make them perfect. And then we're going to go make everyone perfect, and then we're one big collective. Well, I'm not saying we're going to get to be the Borg, but the idea is science fiction is soon becoming science fact. So let's wrap this up. I want to leave with one of my favorite people of all time, Steve Jobs. And this is just something for you guys who are at all various stages in your career, in what you're learning, in what you're doing every day. I just highlighted a bunch of future stuff, but you have to remember the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. And guess what? No one should settle. There's so much opportunity out there today, so many cool things happening. And by the way, you can work all day and go home and innovate and do cool stuff all night on technology and still learn. It doesn't always have to be your day job, so keep that in mind. So your future of everything, the first and foremost, your opportunity is huge today, either in what you're doing, where you can go in your career at your current company, or even maybe your own company one day. Market disruption pace is unprecedented, and it will continue on this pace. The pace of the web is faster than ever, but slowing down in some of those areas that I highlighted. So don't go and have lunch and argue about what's better, Angular 11 or Blazor.NET 5. No one cares. What they do care about is what's the business outcome and how are we delivering better experiences faster to our customers. Business leaders want less coders. Don't freak out, but start to look at some of these new tools. I mean, Infragistics has some. Other folks in the sponsors have some as well. But what you're looking at is how can I be more productive so I can get beyond the mundane to deliver that great experience. Maybe try something new that you haven't done before. So cloud first is the future. Like I said, if you haven't experienced cloud yet, you will. And I think it'll really open up a lot of opportunities for you. Everything is composable. Everything is smart. So this composable architecture and composable enterprise, and then blending that in with your work life 2.0 is sort of part of what's happening actually, and maybe accelerated a little bit with COVID. Digital trust and ethics are a top priority. This is something that you do need to be concerned about, and especially if you're in Europe, and go ahead and read what the European Union has put together in terms of ethics and machine learning. It is extremely detailed, and I was impressed. I'm like, these are bureaucrats, and they have a very robust, detailed recommendation on artificial intelligence ethics. So since most of the folks watching today are in Europe, I would take a look at that and see what we're up against. And then wearables are moving to human augmentation. This is happening. It's not happening like super fast, but you'll see that there's things that are going to start creeping their way into our everyday lives that were never there before. So I want to thank everyone again for listening today. I want to thank the ISTA organizers. I'll be on to answer questions. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, jasonb@infragistics.com. Thanks again, and thank you, ISTA. Have a great evening, everybody.